feel depths of Chicago. Live and direct. It's the Rico No Suave Show. Starring Rico No Suave. With co-host Valerie Malesio. Featuring special guests every Saturday. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Rico No Suave. Ritmo.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Hey! Welcome to the show. It's your boy Rico No Suave here on a 1-2-1-2, ready to go with each and every one of you guys. Welcome back to another great show. Otra vez, ya tu sabes. I am loving that we are here with you because this is the last Saturday for the actual show. And of course, you already know we're going to be moving to October 5th. Prime time, baby. We're going prime time. Yeah, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So super happy to be able to do that. And yes, you know who else is going to be there too? It's Valerie Malesio. What's up, Valerie?
Hey, feliz sábado, mi gente. Today is actually the last day I'm going to be able to say that because just as Rico mentioned, we're moving over to Wednesdays. So make sure on Wednesday, you grab your little... evening cocktail, your little cafecito, and join us. It's going to be great.
Dinner time.
Or, hey, your plate of food, whatever. Whatever it is that you want at that time of night, hey, we'll be there.
That's right.
So today, I am going to comment on the weather because it is a little cool outside today. We are really feeling the fall today.
Fall is back.
Locally here in Chicago, yes, we are feeling it. It's very cool. Actually, I like it, though. Do you like this weather?
I do up to a certain point when it gets below 60. When it goes below 60, then I know I'm going to catch a cold. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I just don't like it. Bring me back to 75, 80, and I'm happy all day. So these are the times where you start preparing to take a trip to other states.
That, or, it is also baking season. So, people... Baking, like use your oven, warming up. It's baking season.
You talking about just staying in the house?
Well, if you're home, if you have the... See,
going outside.
Rico's a little bit disconnected. He's like, no, you could just leave the state. Just take a trip. Just leave. Not all of us can just leave, Rico.
I know. It's okay.
But yes, by all means, if you can take that trip, oh, honey, take the trip. Go visit somewhere and explore.
That's right.
But there are people who actually do like the cold.
Yeah.
Take a trip to, Alaska or the cold climate places.
Yeah.
So for those people, hey, just stick around.
All right, everybody. So we are here for you and you are here for us, and we are ready to get into what we call breaking news. All right, everybody. So here we go. Right. So here we go. All right, everybody. So you already know Boston. If you haven't heard, now you heard it here. Ime Udoka, he's actually was a coach, brand new coach for the Boston Celtics, and he actually started within 2021 into 2022. And then something else came out, but that's okay. We're going to get to that piece, but I'm sorry, I'm just spilling the beans. Let's go to the next slide. If you don't know who he is the fiance of the beautiful Nia Long, who I really love as an actress.
She's one of my favorites.
She is.
Too.
Ever
really
since I saw her in Boys in the Hood, I was like, oh, man, who is that? She is going to be a really nice actress. And Nia Long has been hitting the scene. She's one of those, I would say she's one of those underrated actresses that I admire when she actually plays. Like, she really plays that role. And when you see me, like, oh, man, I'm in love with that girl. You know what I mean? She cool, right? So Nia Long.
You would have fought Debo for her, too?
I don't know about that. I still want to keep my limbs. So I would say that, a very beautiful and happy couple that they are until something leaked out, and then that goes to our next one. So the president of operations and also Wick, which is the next one, which is the CEO. Let's put them both up on the screen. And that's okay if we put them both on the screen. I just want to make sure that everybody knows about this. That there was a leak that came out in regards to Ime Udoka that actually cheating with a staff member. And that was against policy for the Boston Celtics. I have so many words to be able to say about this because when you're at that top level, you hear about basketball players that actually have wives that they actually either cheated on or they had sex with, another young lady. And when it comes to, and I'm not condoning it at all, cheating is not good. But when you get up to that status of being able to be a coach that represents a team and the organization, you are the face because you're the one that's on the media. You're talking to them after every game. You are the one that actually took the players, not saying that the players, they did well because they went to the championship, right? Boston. But then when this comes out and it's leaked, and then there was an investigation that was happening in the summertime. Now, this was happening in June, July time where the investigation was there. And then what they did was they said, we got to investigate this. We got to get into why this actually happened. And now they actually put in a suspension of 1 year for him. I'm not for sure if there was a fine. And you guys can correct me if you guys know in the comment section if there was a fine that was there, but I know that he is suspended. Now, the big action here comes into play that he actually slept with a staff member, which was against the policy. But the wording in regards to how this was being done as to why he was suspended was really way off beat. The rhythm was off when they were actually talking about this in the conference. And then you can bring the screen. You can bring it back to me. And the one thing that I'm very, I'm very, very meticulous when it comes to me analyzing when people are actually talking and they're actually trying, reporters will ask a question and they're trying to get the nitty gritty out of them. And then they beat around a bush in regards to.
Or they ask the same question in different phrasing,
right?
To get the answer.
They say it in different, exactly. and one of the things is that when the wording came out, and he even said it was a consensual agreement between the two, him and the one lady that they actually he had sex with.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, and this is where I'm leading to. Mm-hmm. Most people will say you're fired or you're getting suspended because there was harassment. Because harassment do happen. And then, of course, you're going to get fired. If you look at emails that people actually had from NFL, they don't allow that. You're getting fired. You're not coming back. Or if it was rape, right? Which that, of course, you just need to be fired in general. I mean, you're just doing something like that. That's like a really hard thing. The consensual part comes into play where there was an agreement between the two of actually having sex, period. Should he have done it? Of course not. You got Nia Long, right? I mean, you shouldn't have done that, right? You definitely shouldn't have done that. His personal information got tweeted out, and someone found that, and then they sent it as if it was someone hating against him in the back end and say, I'm going to ruin your life. Or I'm going to ruin you up to a certain piece of it. My man, Stephen A. Smith, said it right on First Take. He says, why? Why bring up something personal like that to be able to bring that out with as many about allegations that actually comes out when people are taking steroids, when people are actually, hit another young lady, when there's actually someone, when it comes to finances, we talk about the welfare piece. But you're talking about this man, either you're going to keep him or you're just going to let him go. Why suspend him? And I totally agree with that. If it was something that they actually said, hey, if you're going to suspend him, what is he going to look like after that suspension?
Right, going back. It's business as usual now?
Right, exactly. Like, okay, you had sex with another young lady. Yes, you have a beautiful Nia Long as your fiance. We don't know what's going on in your home, but why? Why are you actually just suspending this person and then want to bring him back? My piece about this whole thing is that, yes, you get suspended because you're going against policies. And of course, yes, you cheated. Yeah, you're going to get suspended even more because now you don't have a fiance. But it's to the fact of the organization, the policies and things like that. There's probably multiple players that's actually probably doing the same exact thing where that hasn't been leaked out yet. And they actually leak it out because, of course, his status in regards to who he is as a coach. I'm having a hard time with that. I'm just having a hard time with that.
I think there's a lot of things in play. Because he's a coach, he's in a position of power, right?
Sure.
And it sounds like there was some sort of non-fraternization rule that he maybe have signed an ethics clause, which a lot of people in that type of position do, which clearly state you cannot have relationship or fraternize, is what they use, with anybody within the organization.
Sure.
So in terms of the acts that happened between the both of them, whether it was consensual or not, is obviously a whole nother issue.
Sure.
But just because someone says it's okay for us, we agree to have sex with each other, doesn't mean that you are, null and void of your commitments and agreement to the organization, which you agreed that you would not fraternize.
Sure.
Fraternize. I can't even say that word. Non-fraternization. You know what I mean?
Sound like a fraternity.
You can't hate. And no, because I've seen these, written out that you have to sign.
Sure.
Ethics for people in positions of power.
Yes.
And that's to keep that organization or company out of any type of liability situation.
Correct.
So he knew this.
Yep, of course.
Going in.
Of course.
Now, the decision to suspend, I have to agree with you on that. Why are we just suspending him?
Right.
Why isn't he just fired?
Right.
What is the exception that we're taking here?
Right.
Is there some tiered, scalable way of determining whether or not you're fired or just suspended? Like that, I'm having the difficulty, and I agree with you. I don't understand what happened there. Why is he just not fired then if this is a situation? And if he's not getting fired, then why are we even having this conversation?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's the point.
That would be a conversation that him and his wife need to discuss and go over that. But
correct.
If he did break a rule within the organization, again, I'm not privy to his contracts. I'm not privy to whatever it is that he signed. And I'm also not privy to whoever decides what your punishment or course of action, as they like to say, is taken against you for breaking a rule.
I guess it's
but it doesn't make sense.
They have different, I guess, from, I don't know if it's the same level in regards to punishment when it comes to CEO, president, coach.
Coach is still a position of power.
Well, the different layers in regards to the contracts. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, again, we're not privy to that.
Exactly.
We don't know exactly
I don't know how that works.
But a coach is a position of leadership.
Oh,
and decisions can be detoured if you have relationships with people and you have favoritism with people, so you do not engage in that type of activity with anybody.
You know better.
You know what I mean? You should know better.
Yeah,
you are a grown person.
So
be in control of yourself.
Let me ask you.
I mean, come on.
Well, I mean,
honestly,
I guess he got really horny. But
I mean, so you couldn't walk down the street? You had to go just to the next office?
I guess it was. I guess.
Convenience? I mean, come on.
Closets.
Stop being lazy.
Closets. Yeah. So what happens is this. Check this out. What happened to the girl?
I would think she should have been suspended or fired too.
Bingo. Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
You know what I mean?
I thought about the same thing. Everybody was focusing on Udoka, and I'm like, what about the girl?
Well, if she signed the same agreements, then absolutely. If she is not subject to that.
I think that's kind of like an HR Like, it feels like when they were talking, it seems like it was an HR thing across the board.
It is, but it also depends on the position of power. And the reason why I know some of this is because I've seen this situation happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say where, but
Sure.
I saw the same situation happen with some people that were on a team that I was on.
Yeah.
And somebody in a position of power decided to engage in activity with what's deemed as a subordinate.
Yeah.
And it's just not the result that the person was able to stay there.
Yeah.
Now, of course, everybody in the environment was like, side eye, like, why are you still here? And he had to go, you know. But some of those mistakes you just can't recover from. And let's just step outside the fact that he's engaged to somebody. Is he married to her or he's engaged?
Engaged.
He's engaged to somebody. So that's a whole nother set of issues that he's going to have to go through separately. But if you're in a position of power and you have these urges that you cannot control, do yourself a favor and everybody else and take a walk down the street. It's all simple. Walk outside the building.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
I mean,
but
come on.
I think you know, decisions happen, and we got to get to our guests because
It's just so
I know.
stupid,
I
you
know.
know?
It's just. I think it's more of, how can I say it? I think it's more of a decision that certain people make that. Yeah, you might be human and you do make those mistakes, but you also have to understand as far as the position that you're in.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
And I know that, and you know, Rick, as always, I know you're a broski. You like to make sure your guys are treated fairly. But in this situation, he was in a position of power and he took advantage of that power. It could be deemed that he took advantage of her based on his position.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and we already know what
that was just not very smart.
That is our breaking news, everybody. That is our breaking news. And yes, I have to introduce this gentleman because he is back. He is back. He is back.
He is back.
My man is back with us. He is he's legendary here in Chicago. From
absolutely.
Underground hip hop to throwing a little bit of R&B flavor. You know, I feel that whole do or die. You know, that's in that flavor as well, too, that Chicago style. I want you guys to put your hands together representing, you already know my people from Puerto Rico. Put your hands together for none other than my man, P.Rism. Prism, let's go, baby. What's up, Papa?
How's it going?
I'm good.
Very excited to be here today. Second time,
yes.
And it marks another historic moment, our final Saturday here
yes.
at the
Yay!
Rico No Suave show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Looking
sir.
at the set.
Yes, sir.
You are closing out our Saturdays.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunity and, you know, looking at the set and how you guys have come along in a short period from the last time that I was here till now.
Yes.
I'm excited for you guys as well. So
thank you,
fantastic.
Man. Thank you. Thank
fantastic.
You. Let's get right into it, baby. Let's get right into it. There's so much to talk about in such a little time, but you already know, Prism, we're happy to actually have you here with us. Let's talk about, because a lot of people over the time, you know, thanks to our audience, we have grown, and a lot of people don't know about you. But they do need to know about you, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about how you became a hip-hop artist in this industry.
Well, that's an interesting question, and it's really hard to go back because hip-hop in Chicago, when I was growing up, wasn't as prominent as we talked about before.
Sure.
We were getting into hip house. Freestyle was kind of there as well, but hip house was kind of like a little bit different, dialed in. It was up-tempo. You could still dance to it, but they were kind of rhyming over it. Yeah. And I know the influences are coming from hip hop. So my cousin and I, you know, he was already doing hip house. He was doing freestyle. I got significantly influenced from him. But if I go and look at a mainstream artist that people can recognize, right? Beside my cousin Jose Melendez, big shout out to him, rest in heaven. Yeah. LL Cool J.
All right now.
LL Cool J. Yeah. If I think back, you know, I'm sure there are other major influences, but I think LL Cool J was one of the ones that I could think of in my mind where I actually could see myself standing in front of a mirror reciting, "Mama said knock you out."
Yeah.
And this was literally 1990, I would say.
Okay.
And that's when I was reciting, and I felt like, you know, something about that form of expression intrigued me.
Yeah.
So at that point, with my cousin having already put me in the studio prior to that, when I was much younger in the 80s, when the hip house was around, to actually wanting to transition to make music myself, somewhere in that 90s range. And that's when I started putting pen to paper.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, you mentioned that you had this influence with your cousin.
Yes.
Who sounds like he was very strong and influencing you to the direction you were going.
Absolutely.
Prior to that, was it just like the hip house, or did you have any other type of genres you were involved in? Did you play instruments, like any of that come into play?
That's also a wonderful question. And as I transitioned, there was introduction to those things such as instruments, different types of music. Naturally, I grew up on merengue, salsa, bachata.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
of these
sir,
types
papa.
of music is what I grew up on. But as far as being an artist myself, being exposed to freestyle, hip house, and hip hop, that came through my cousin. In my very early teens, maybe 14, I was already in the studio doing the choruses for him on songs. So literally being in a recording environment as an artist, not just doing your living room or a cipher with your friends, but actually recording and producing music. With that being said, as I got into hip hop, I was always into beatboxing, so percussion draws me. Right. So as it pertains to instruments, and I know you guys know because you're in the scene of salsa and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So percussion is one of the things that I love. Now, I love horns, I love strings, I love guitars, I love all of the instruments as they come together in a symphony. But what I got my hands on was the bongo.
Yeah.
Bongo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll routinely go to these hip hop events, open mic events, and bring my bongo and play in the background.
Nice.
Over these different beats, different syncopations. And it came to a point that when I stopped doing that, people would actually ask me, "Hey, where are your bongos? Did you bring your bongos?" So, definitely transition into
That
various
instrument
things.
is hot.
I love that.
That's like the bongo, basata clave, and a basso, right? That actually has that bass line that you just know when you hear it. Anything balas también, right? You just know that those are the instruments that just makes music happen. When I really started hearing a lot of bongos back in the day was when Earth, Wind, and Fire used to actually have bongos.
I grew up
as well.
on that.
Man, but they had a whole orchestra.
The
reason.
Yeah, right. But that way here, right?
I grew up on that.
And then you could hear all the different instruments, and it just made this whole happy place.
Yeah.
I know for me, like that, their albums are just happy albums for me because you can listen to them from cover to cover.
Yes.
Without switching them out.
Right.
And I love every track.
I want to interject on that too because I always phrase that as when music was good.
Yes.
Because, and I don't want to hate on current music. A lot of the stuff that's very popular now is electronic, and I appreciate that for what it is as well. But the music that you guys are referencing, that I grew up on, such as the Earth, Wind, and Fire, I was very much growing up in the Motown era, et cetera, et cetera. So there was a lot of live instruments in that arrangement, and I really grew up loving and appreciating that too. So
the instrumentation, I have to big shout out to that because I love it too. And to your point, music today is good with its own. It's not the same, but with its own, emphasis on what is today.
Yeah.
It's just different, but it's equally fabulous.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, I and the cool thing about it is that back in the day when it was hip hop, you definitely knew by the beats as well as the voices that they were different. EPMD, LL Cool J, even even Will Smith, and even like you had Coogee Rap.
Laugh when you brought him in
I know.
Because he wasn't political,
Public Enemy,
hardcore rap in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Sure. But I'm just talking about just like hip hop rap, Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
You heard that, right? But you also heard when Chicago rappers was rapping. Chicago rappers had a style that just made it like so unique. So when I heard your music for the first time with big shout out to Abby Cruz, you guys actually had this flavor of a mixture with Crucial Conflict, Do or Die, Twista, little bit of Kanye, Common Sense, and Common, right? That was just there, right? And you felt that, right? You felt that because Chicago was different. And even, Bone Thugs and Harmony, when they actually had that LA style, but it kind of felt like that Chicago Crucial Conflict type feel, but your style of music makes us as Chicagoans want to represent that music all over, which it is. But it just feels so good when
you hear the influences.
Oh man,
you do hear the influences, and it kind of throws you back, right?
Yeah.
So when you're listening to a track, you're like, wow, that first phrasing kind of reminds me of so and so, or this second phrasing kind kind of has that do or die feel to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally get the breakdown of it. So your influences definitely shine through your music. Do you hear it? Do you plan it out that way, or you just kind of flows naturally when you're in there?
Yeah.
Interesting question, actually. I come from a time where in hip hop, we don't want to try to sound like anybody else.
Right.
And one of the things that I get from a lot of my friends is, hey, you should listen to this album or listen to that album to make me privy to what's going on with current music. And I kind of keep myself in a bubble as it pertains to that. Yes, because a lot of times I'm so focused on producing music, completing music, writing music, and continuing to perpetuate that system of putting music out at a rapid pace one time a month, either an album or a new song.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wrapped up in that, like a mad scientist, a hermit in front of his own music, focusing on creating.
Yes,
however, there were times where I did come across music that I made where I would say, you know what, it would be difficult for me to deny my influences from that particular artist or this particular artist when I listen to that specific song. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, I do see times where the sound is derivative of some influence that I have, but a lot of the time I like to separate myself from anything that's current, popular, and come up with my own unique expression.
But I think that's part of your uniqueness.
Yes, thank you.
Because you do have some of those influential, pops, and if you're listening to it in your our age group, then you'll
30,
hear them. 26, thank you.
Of course.
And you'll hear those influences, and you're like, wow, this reminds me of so and so.
Yes.
But it's definitely a newer flavor, and you have the essence of P.Rism. Within those tracks.
That's a good analysis, because what I've done is, even back in the days when when crunk was really like a big thing, I would like to try to take that type of rhythm and that bounce that they had, but put lyrics into it, as opposed to like chants, which again, I'm not saying any music is better or worse, but I just wanted to put my own twist on that. So I dialed it up into my terrain to try to make that and then blend my style into it. So as opposed to just jumping on what's trending, I'm still doing what I do and staying unique to myself and staying authentic to myself artistically, while saying, okay, you know what? There's something to this that I do like, I do enjoy, depending upon the terrain, whether it's at a club or whether you're in a car or whether it's music that you want to listen to when you're waking up and you decide you want to clean around the house, right? Something that's going to motivate you, give you energy. So I do think about that when I make music, but a lot of times I let the music dictate the direction that I'm going based on how it makes me feel.
I like that, man. I like that. All right, everybody, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You already know, my man, P.Rism. Put that dot before that ism. He's in the building, everybody. So, welcome. We'll be back 30 seconds.
We'll be right back.
Cars will break down. And when they do, it's too late. If your car is out of warranty, it leaves you with two choices. Get stuck paying for expensive repairs, or one phone call to CarShield. Their administrators pay for your covered repairs so you don't have to. Your coverage includes roadside assistance, towing, rental, and so much more. Plus, with their nationwide network, you choose the mechanic or dealer. Best of all, there's coverage for every wallet size. Make the smart call before it's too late. Call CarShield today.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You already know my man P.R.Ism is in the building. Puerto Rico, stand up. All right. So, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It is your boy, Rico No Suave, with my co-host, Valerie Malesio, my production crew in the building. Yes, we're ready to go. So, let's get into it. Let's get into more deep mindset of P.Rism. So, P.Rism, because, a lot of underground hip-hop artists, R&B artists as well too, used to come together and make some really nice tracks, but also that hasn't been released. Have you had a lot of tracks that, of course, that you have that you thought that you should have released and you just kept within your repertoire?
Man, wow. You guys are really coming up with some interesting stuff. A lot of times you get into these different interviews and the questions are very blanket. You guys are really kind of making me dive into that, into that process. Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, yes, my goal has been, because I have been making music for a long time now.
Yes.
And my goal as of recent was to say, listen, nothing's going to die on the hard drive. So that's like my slogan, There's nothing going to die in the hard drive. I don't
Yeah.
want any of this music to die in the hard drive. So what I've done is I've revisited a lot of the older music that I felt had its potential. And whether I dialed it up by, pushing some buttons and twisting some knobs, or adding some vocals to it, or saying, hey, you know what, maybe this vocalist that I've been working with sounds good on this, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been trying to polish it off, give it a new coat of paint, and say, okay, cool, you're out. I'm going to put that into the ether so that people can listen to, and if it touches somebody, fantastic. That's what it was meant to do. Yeah. If it's 12,000 or 12 million, that's what it was meant to do. But at the end of the day, what I'm doing is essentially taking the weight off my subconscious mind of saying, man, I have all of this music. Yeah. And there's so much potential here that I'm not doing anything with. Yeah.
Do you give yourself a cutoff date?
I actually create an arbitrary timeline for myself. And, for a lot of the artists out there, on this newest project, the Morlock Crew project, there's a little excerpt, a little snippet where I talk about how people are a little bit afraid to put their music out, or they feel a little bit subconscious about what people are going to say about their music and things of that nature, or getting in their own head and saying, you know what, I don't think it's ready. So I put an arbitrary timeline out on my stuff as opposed to saying, you know what, hey, it's not perfect. I say, you know what, my monthly deadline, because again, I'm trying to put out projects on a monthly basis once a week, whether it's an album or a single and a video to complement that, for example. What I've been doing is saying, hey, this is my deadline, I have to put that out, get the cover artwork done, get the song finished up, produced, mixed, and mastered, and let's go ahead and put it out. So in order for me to produce at a high level, at high quantity and quality, I do have to put that timeline on myself. So the answer is yes.
You should really, you should do the videos on how to do that, because, you hit the nail on the head, because a lot of times, I kind of grew up in and out of studios as well. And you watch people, they put this music together and then they sit on it because, one, they just pick themselves apart way too much and it's never good enough, which I like to hear you say, I just give myself a cutout, I do the best I can with it, and I like it and I put it out there. Do you ever have a point where you're like, man, it's just not ready, but I'm going to release it anyway? Do you push yourself to do that?
There are times that I do that, let's think about it this way. When I think that there's a flaw, a mistake, something in the cadence I could have corrected or re-recorded, and I have the capability to do that right at home, so it literally would take just a couple of minutes. But at times I have to say, you know what, hey, let's just leave it at that. The flaws and the imperfections that I'm perceiving are only something that I'm going to perceive. The average listener, the average listener, they're not really paying attention to that. And I've gained that insight through actually performing live on a multitude of occasions in front of from 10 to 10,000 people, where I may have forgotten a lyric or a bar and I just go ahead and go into freestyle. The crowd doesn't know that I'm freestyling, that I'm literally improvising. From the 16 bars, I may have lost myself on the 8th bar, and this happens rarely because I know my music very well, but if that ever does happen, I know that I have that fallback of being able to improvise my rhymes, my lyrics, and freestyle based, and again, on the fact that I come from a culture where the cypher and the freestyle is very strong and thriving. So I've been able to utilize that skill set when I'm in an environment where I'm actually performing written material and say, okay, well, if I stumble, nobody's gonna really notice because I'm not gonna fall. It's kind of like when you slip and you just catch that stride right again, and so nobody notices it, right? So nobody notices it. You look over your shoulder, like, did anybody know? No, nobody noticed that. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, finish it off, and then get back into my flow of where I was at. So I try not to allow it to break my flow state. So with that being said, I got a lot of stuff that I'm able to fall back on from the foundation to bring towards when I'm, doing my live performances. So, yeah.
I hope everybody out there has a pen and paper and you are taking notes, because we have a master class today. Definitely have a master class.
Well, it's definitely deep in the process of what R&B, hip hop, and the style that you actually have is what people need to be educated about, right? And then because your style is unique,
but
right?
even his process.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
His process of just getting it done. Because I'm telling you, in these studios, you'll have people who will sit on projects forever because they just don't feel comfortable with the finished product and don't. And it's just because they're too meticulous. Yeah. So a lot of times producers will, once you finish a run, they'll ask people to leave the room. so that they can do the editing and everything on their own, and they'll show you the finished product. You know, so because people pick themselves apart so much, so it's great you have that process flow put together.
The flip side of that is, and I'm like that too, I don't put out a product unless I'm really comfortable with putting it out. Sometimes I have been bit. Yeah, and sometimes when I'm bit by that, it's because I'm thinking, oh, this looks good, then I miss some things.
It's the happy medium, right? It's trying to find that happy medium of that.
That's the problem, yeah.
And I love how you said, you know, you slip and fall and just kind of switch it up a bit. You know,
modifications.
We've taught dance, so we tell people, you know, hey, there's no wrong moves, just new moves.
Absolutely. Just trying to simplify the analogy and draw a parallel to what the average mind can perceive in terms of, okay, have you ever slipped and caught your stride? Boom. Okay, cool. Well, that's a small example of what I would experience in a situation like that.
Right.
So if you do see those imperfections and things of that nature, guess what? A lot of the times people who are listening to the music or watching the performance, they might not have even noticed. You're the only one who really noticed. You are your own strongest critic.
Right.
That's fine. But again, if you're comfortable with it, boom, okay, we can move forward with it because we got to start working on the next project.
That's right.
Love
and
that.
I think that's the key. We got to throw some shout outs here to some people that's 606 Chicago checking in, talking about salute to P.Rism from the whole 606 family.
Hi, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, much love, yes. And then he says, speaking of freestyle, Blue Note. Yeah, Blue Note, Mike.
If you know the Blue Note, you go back. Much love.
Yes, much love. Man, the Blue Note is definitely something that I used to go back to, and just sometimes when we listen to some of the DJs play as well too. So Blue Note is the bomb. We want to say
Blue Note used to be one of my stops, you know.
Yeah.
What we would do is on Tuesday night, and I'll keep this quick, and I feel like you're going to transition, but we used to do Subterranean Tuesday night, 606.
Yeah.
Open mic hip hop. That's where that's like a stomping grounds for a lot of artists to cultivate their freestyle ability.
Yeah.
And or if you wanted to do your writtens. But after they would close, we would all filter on over to the Blue Note.
That's right.
And that stays open till 4 a.m. So we had a
really
good.
I used to see you at Sub Tees. I used to see you at the Blue Note because I used to hit Six Corners on Tuesday nights.
You're familiar with it?
I would hit my salsa fix over at Green Dolphin Street.
Nice.
For those of us who are local.
Yes.
And then I would go hit,
I performed there as well. Beautiful location.
Borderlines used to be over there too.
Which at Green Dolphin?
Green Dolphin, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I opened up for Nina Sky there. Me, Freddie K, Sean Tildon. We opened up for Nina Sky there.
Nina Sky. Yeah.
She was just here too, wasn't she? For the Must Flow.
Okay.
She popped in town too.
I think it was at Calumet. I was in Calumet. I think at Calumet Park.
Yeah.
My interaction with them, super cool.
Yeah.
Very, very down to earth. I enjoyed it.
If people, you have to. I remember seeing you just everywhere, just in festivals.
But you used to be out in the streets too with promoting, right? Promoting and things like that, right?
That's one of the things I think. I hope not to annoy people based on the fact that I do a lot of that type of promoting, because where I come from as far as promotion is from a guerrilla marketing standpoint.
Yeah.
Right? So we used to be out on the street, feet to the floor.
Don't you love that has a name now?
Yeah, right?
Guerrilla marketing?
Yes.
When, before it was just promoting.
Yeah.
Street team.
Yeah.
With, boots on the ground.
But we still respect it, because I used to do that too. Right? When I used to go out there and promote, even for like in the back of the day at the warehouse, he say, hey, Rico, can you go and pass out some flyers? I'm like, I'll go down the street and start passing out flyers for you. But that was part of the extinction of, the street team, right?
Yes.
And actually getting, because that was the only way we knew where parties were.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
I wish it was still like that today.
I kind of like that.
Yeah,
that was just to your point. I kind of like the way we think back and we're like, that was cool. But
so the ill thing about that is that we were the street team, right? So not only was I hosting the events, promoting the events, things of that nature, but I was performing and or creating lineups for performers to be able to come to the events that I was doing. With that being said, I was part of the street team. So what that did was allow me to be much more personable in terms of being able to meet people, rub elbows, shake hands, kiss babies, that kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's what also increased a lot of my popularity as it pertains to social networking.
Yeah.
Now, social networking now, I haven't been able to really take that same equity that I had. So I still feel that there's a validity in terms of actually being out on the scene and being with people.
Yes.
FaceTimeism is really, you can't beat that with face-to-face with people.
Oh.
I don't mean FaceTime like
the app
FaceTime.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I thought you
with
meant.
other people, on the street.
Because even FaceTime too,
shaking
people do
hands,
that too.
like talking with people, interacting with people.
That's exactly it.
Engagement.
And that's exactly
of
it.
course, yeah.
That's exactly it, and that's what I wanted to touch on based on experience as well, just for these newer artists that are coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that if we get to that section. But
is that okay? Is that
right.
on your timeline?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But I like it. I love it. I love it.
She was running our show today.
She's a pro. She's a pro. But you know, from experience, I haven't been able to move that equity over onto social networking, right? So like on my Instagram, it went from Mi Gente, which was like the Black Planet and the Asian Avenue, right?
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends to MySpace, where I was like dominating, you know, and like social networking really wasn't what it is now, but it was kind of creeping up onto that degree.
Yeah.
And then, you know, streaming and all that kind of stuff came around, but podcasting and things of that nature. But Facebook, I was able to move a little bit of the equity there, but I noticed that my followership diminished a little bit. And then from Instagram, where my followership diminished significantly.
But
and I'm
filtered.
willing.
That's
Yeah.
because Facebook, Instagram, all that's filtered. It's
Yeah.
filtered. The
Yeah.
algorithms kind of scale you back on your outreach. So,
But
because
as-
I know if you can do it, geez,
Well-
there's no hope for somebody like me because I've seen what you can do.
Well, I'd like to agree with that and disagree in the sense that I'm not out on the scene as much as I was before. So I'd like to see how much of an impact that would have on those types of numbers. So as it pertains to what we were talking
Everybody,
Possibly,
it's all
yeah.
it's all social media. I mean, it's mostly social media, but also you still have those networking events.
Sure.
Right? You still have the networking events where you still actually have your business cards, or you still have a flyer. They can still be able to, but you know what they say? Hey, are you on IG?
Are you on-
Are you on Facebook?
Where's your
yeah,
QR
I am.
code?
Exactly.
And you
I
still,
definitely have that.
in addition, have shows like this
Yeah.
who pay homage to artists and
Yes.
people like us
Thank
to
you.
be able to showcase their skills and talk a little bit about their story.
And it's social media.
Such as the Rico No
Yeah.
Suave show with Rico and Valerie. Let's get a hand for that.
I appreciate that, man.
Let's get the air horn.
Right.
Oh, we need to keep you somewhere.
And you know what? You know, one of the things that you brought up, which one of the words, and I don't know if you ever watched. Remember when Pee Wee Herman had his own like the Playhouse, and he used to come out and say,
geez.
"Hey, the magic word," right? The magic word that I just caught that you said was ill.
Yes.
You know that was ill.
Yes.
Well,
So
that
we
tells-
used to say that all the
But that
time.
tells us what age group he is.
Yep, yep.
So,
Oh
I
wow!
love that.
Yeah.
And what type
I
of
wasn't
cloth
trying
we
to
come
go back
from.
there, but I was trying to make it seem like, you know, when we say, "Oh, that's ill," that was like still some of the words like I would say just slip out of nowhere. Talking to some of these young cats, you're like, man, they didn't even understand a word I just said.
That's because the corporate world got you and just shook all the ill out of you.
Right, exactly. So we're about one more minute before we go into another commercial break. But we do got to say some big shout outs. My man John T for Free is checking
John
in.
T.
John
for
T for
Free.
Free checking in. Violetta's checking in. What's up,
Violetta?
Violetta? And then we're actually talking to my man, Oliver Lobato. Papa, thank you so much for checking in.
Thank
and
you for checking in.
Eileen, love, lady
in red.
Yes, she is checking in. Thank you so much for checking in. And everybody else is checking in with us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. We're going to get right to another commercial break, everybody. We want to thank you guys so much for your love. We got P.Rism in the house. See you soon.
We'll be
Hello,
right
my
back.
name is Ken Mears. I'm the founder of Great Healthworks, the makers of
Hello, my name is Ken Mears.
Those of you who are searching to address your aches and pains and your soreness, Omega XL is for you.
I had pain in my shoulders, my elbows, pretty much hurt just to drive the truck.
I was having a lot of problems with my knees. I was in a lot of pain.
You don't need to live in pain. Inflammation is controllable, it can be managed, and it's fixable.
Omega XL has made my job easier. Thank you, Omega XL. Got me back to work.
Just give it a try. You'll be happy that you did.
I've been so happy I can just take Omega XL, and it makes a huge difference.
You're going to feel the difference, and it's going to make a big change in your life.
Omega XL works.
Call now, and when you buy one bottle of Omega XL, you get another absolutely free. That's 2 bottles of Omega XL for only $39.95. When you sign up for our convenient monthly auto ship, you'll save 30% on future orders. Don't wait. Order Omega XL today and save. Today and save.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back to the show. You already know we got my man P.Rism in the house. Yes, man, such a great time having you back again, my man.
Excited to be here. Excited
So,
to be here.
One of the things that we always talk about as far as, you know, being an artist or being in industries, careers and things like that is the struggles. Struggles what makes us learn a lot of lessons in regards to how we are as a person in the future. what are some of the obstacles you ran through as an artist that made you feel like I made this accomplishment and this is why I'm here today?
Oh, that's a tough one to answer because I think I'm still in the process of gathering that information because I'm still active.
Okay.
It's not something that I'm looking back on. I'm actually doing music in the current time.
Yeah.
So, but what I would say is definitely, learning to do music for the love and not necessarily attempting to make it a popularity contest or something that I believe that I'm going to survive on monetarily, for example.
Yes.
Something that is coming from within. It's something that I wish to express, something that I want to do.
Yes.
So if I'm taking anything from that, I look back at this body of work that I'm doing and I just really want to make sure that I'm capable of writing a chapter for people to be able to see what I'm about through my music. Not necessarily because I'm looking for the most popularity or looking for the most money or looking to be on the radio or television. Like, okay, cool. Do I feel like I'm ready for those types of things? Sure. Put me in the right type of spotlight. Who knows? I might be able to shine past even what I think I can do.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's just being able to tune into whether you love to do this, because I've seen a lot of people come and go based on a peak in popularity, and then when that's gone, they no longer exist musically. Do they have music inside of them? Yes, but they don't feel the desire strongly enough to continue to express that music, and that to me is unfortunate because. And I'll just give you this analogy and I'll leave that question there. But I had a friend, he used to play trumpet. And, some things happened in his life. And he was part of a band. Some things happened in his life where he had to transition and give that trumpet away, right? Put it in the box and put it away. And essentially what he was doing was just bearing a portion of him, bearing a piece of him to transition over to another chapter in his life.
Sure.
Right? I fear that time where I come to that point, because I always feel like I'm always going to be able to be involved in music in some form or fashion, but I felt like he gave a piece of himself away or put a piece of himself to the side to move forward, and I respect that, but I also fear that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the mistress. That thing's going to come back to haunt you. You can't really, well, you can. I mean, you can do whatever you want. But, as you mentioned, some form you'll be involved with music. You may not be on the street or traveling or whatever, but you'll be involved somehow because you just have to feed your soul, or that part of you will just die. Maybe that person found another outlet, or maybe they're an artist too and they chose to start painting. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Maybe they switch gears on their creativity.
Yes.
If they're a creative, some creatives have multiple avenues or multiple outlets.
Yeah.
But I completely understand what you're saying. And that comes along with, we talk a lot about, the mental health piece and being true to who you are.
Yes.
And you said a lot of artists come and go. A lot of times when those peaks go away, they don't always recover, and they're afraid to go back out there or just didn't want to go through it again, So do you have any type of insight, or have you had any situations with people around you where they've just mentally it was just too much for them and they just couldn't move forward anymore?
Absolutely. And I think that there is a merit to being able to take a step back and prioritizing. So taking a step back, prioritizing things that are going on in your life, getting your things aligned there. Now, there's also an aspect of that you can draw from musically. So that's the beauty about music and being able to create, and being a creative mind, as we talked about before, is being able to take, whether it's something negative that's going on in your life or something positive going on in your life, being able to take that, tune that, dial that in, and create that form of expression, bringing it out musically. For example, I have a song called True Story, which features Rose Red. Rose Red, the vocalist.
Okay.
Wonderful vocalist. I've been following her for a very long time, fan of her for a long time. She just did a podcast appearance last night, talked a little bit about her story. But I've also done a song called Oh Mama with Abby Cruz, where we talk about actual, real, important things in our personal lives.
Yeah.
That could have easily been a detriment to us musically, and as far as like, this is something I want to leave alone for now. But what we did is we channeled it and we put it into our musical expression. So for me, sure, I have a lot of songs that sound more modern or popular for the terrain of a club or for dance, things of that nature. But those are the songs that are the most meaningful for me. So being able to take that and tune it into the music and turn that negative into a positive.
That's the cool thing about how music can actually, like, make you feel a certain way and make you move a certain way with a meaning. What I mean by that is that you can be actually talking about something that can be going through your life. At the same time, too, the beat can be banging in the back end. It'd be ill, right? And what happens is that you just feel that, but you have a reason to dance to the music, right? It gives you a feeling that I can actually sing or say the words or rap to this music because it means something. And it's kind of like going back to that day where LL Cool J Knock You Out or EPMD or Public Enemy. Those were words that people actually were talking about that was going on within life. It makes you feel a certain way, right?
It's relatable.
Bring that back. It's of course
very relatable.
That's the key.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
that's the connection, right? The connection of stuff that you may be going through, right? And then all of a sudden you hear that and like, oh man, I got to do this. I just gotta scream to the top of my lungs this whole song because now I'm feeling it right now, right?
Yes.
And I think that's where with your music itself, that's awesome. So we do have to play your video, and it's called "Make You Leak."
Yes.
Yes, "Make You Leak." And the dancer in there, her name is Bella. So we're gonna actually play this video for you guys. I want you guys to enjoy yourself because we got my man Abby Cruz checking in with us as well too. Abby Cruz, what's up, Papa? He's also in this video as well too. All right, everybody.
Real quick, if we lose you on Facebook, go get us on Mixcloud. Come to Mixcloud.
Hopefully not.
With her, she didn't know about the talent I possessed in music. I observed that she had class and of course that and how she moved it. Suddenly caught eye contact, felt the tension in the air and we both knew it. Fast forward in my mind to the time we could share standing there. How should I pursue it? Will I come off as confident or will it be perceived as cocky? It was something in your body that caught me, but it was a look in your eye that got me. She could tell that I was very well versed, but my approach wasn't well rehearsed. It wasn't game or lame or shy, just you and I and it's you and I verse. We exchanged a smile and a number to dial and everything was comfortable. Hung out for a week in a row, but I felt like I met her a month ago. More than friends with benefits, thinking about getting into it. I was tempted to touch, but I wasn't in a rush, thinking about getting intimate. When it happens, it'll be on time, just as long as she don't mind. What matters the most to me is when we close that she on mine. As our bodies intertwine and our hearts and souls align, I'ma go with the flow when they say the Chicago skyline.
All over the bed, baby, just like I said, baby. All over the place, I got you making faces. That we're doing it on the plane, that we're doing it in the rain, baby. Cause you know I keep it coming, I gotta keep it coming.
She'd invite me to a place to see my face and she welcomed at my house. We don't need a bedroom, we just go ahead and spoon in the moonlight on my couch. As I rubbed her down, she turned around, my hand still in her blouse. Kissed her lips as I looked in her eyes, and I clearly realized she had no doubt. Liquid lips, then kissed the neck. She wasn't meant no disrespect. I was standing proud as I thought out loud and said, "You're tripping wet." She began to hold me tight, ain't no need to dim the lights. Feeling some kind of way, but it feels so right. Tonight we finally unite. From the man cave to the shower, to the bedroom for another hour. Had her head on my chest as he dropped, oh yes, she impressed, I regained my power. Baby girl, do you want another round? You're so beautiful, I might go downtown. It's not everybody's body, I make my playground. I can freely show affection, we can see a full-blown connection. We are heading in the right direction, a blessing, natural selection. It was not another date you seeked, nor to hear another fake dude speak. It was something just a little more deep. What you really wanted me to do was
all over the bed, baby, just like I said, baby. All over the feel good, baby, all night long. Make your body quiver while I sing this song. I already know you are my destiny. No coincidence that you are here with me. Holding you close, I'm never letting you go. Growing so deep that I embrace your soul. I'm so into you, you're so into me. Increase intensity as we share intimacy. Wanna make you waterfall, I can hear you call. I heard you say my name, it makes me wanna fall. I don't wanna go, makes me lose all control. Emotions start to show, let's take it nice and slow. The pleasure and the pain, baby, you give good brain.
Me on top of the bed, I'm laying. You on top doing your thing.
You and I become one, or are we simply sprung? It isn't though we close our eyes, we wake up with the sun. Yeah. All over the bed, baby, just like I said, baby. All over the place, got you making faces. That we're doing it on the plane, that we're doing it in the rain, baby. Cause you know I keep it coming, I gotta keep it coming.
Already hear everybody on the radio. Yeah, baby! That was called Make You Leak, everybody. Hey, that took me back in regards to how videos were made on.
Man, that video is such a throwback. It is.
Like,
Just the style.
MTV Raps and
just
all
him,
of that.
the scene in the booth.
Yeah.
And then you have, the singing, the Abby on the other side. It's just so smooth.
Abby Cruz.
And the blue lighting. All of that. And then the girl, kind of just this dream, because it's kind of innuendo, right? It could be just a dream girl that they're thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
She's completely separate from them.
Yep.
So it's like something you would have totally saw in a Shy video. You know what I mean? Like back in the day.
Yes.
So that's what I got out of it. I loved it.
Ooh, yeah. I'm just saying, though. I don't want to throw the vocals out there. I want to throw the vocals out, but I'll be in your next video if you want me to.
Jodeci days.
That's right. Give it up for Prison, everybody. And Abby Cruz. Thank you, man. Big shout out to Primo Cruz. Primo Cruz is checking in. He said, nice tune, smooth.
Very smooth.
Yes, very smooth, man. That I have to say that was hot, man.
It's good. I really liked it.
That was hot.
Super throwback.
Yeah. So, one last question I want to throw at you. There's a lot of albums you came out with. There's a lot of singles that you actually have out. Can you name some of them that really stands out to you? And also, what is your upcoming projects as well?
Great question. Actually, I want to just really kind of point out the 3 records that I put out. I put out a project every month. So let's be clear. One time a month, either a single or an album.
Clear.
Right? So I really want that to be part of the narrative that I'm trying to create. 3 albums. Right? So number 1, I want to give props to Degaders. Degaders is a producer that I've been working with for many, many years now. He helped. I worked together, and again, as we talked about, putting a new coat of paint, polishing up some of the older material, took a project, Degaders Presents, Puerto Ricanism, all the tracks that Degaders produced for me over the course of the years, we compiled into this one album. I then got that over to Keylock Beats, who touched it up, cleaned up the samples, things of that nature, and then we mixed it, mastered it, put it out. So that's album number 1. And I'm talking about albums, not just the single. So the undertaking of completing an album, complete from beginning to end with intro, outro, interludes, is a pretty lengthy process.
Yeah.
When did this one come out?
This one came out, I believe, I dropped this one perhaps in April or May. I'd have to look back at my calendar of this year. So yes, these 3 albums, and the reason why I want to highlight this is because these are 3 albums within this year.
Okay, gotcha.
Nice.
Not just the past 3 total years that I've been putting out music on a monthly basis, but 3 albums this year while staying on course with putting out my singles on a monthly basis.
Man.
So I got the album called Humboldt Rico, right? So Humboldt Rico is my Latin, more kind of Latin and tropical.
Yeah.
And I called it Humboldt Rico because we're from Humboldt Park. Sometimes they call us Humboldt Ricans, kind of like New Yorkers, right? And the reason I did that is because me being born and raised here in Chicago, and my family from Puerto Rico, right? When I went to Puerto Rico, and I'm gonna try to make a long story short here, but when I invited somebody from Puerto Rico to Humboldt Park, where I'm from, they said something of the effect of, well, this is a cool place. It seems Puerto Rico themed, right? But I grew up in Humboldt Park, and I thought this was like the true essence of what Puerto Rico. It had the true essence of it. I didn't know until I actually went to Puerto Rico what the difference was. Right. So at the time, I took it as like a little bit of an offense to it, right? Like, But when I went over there and I experienced it myself, the very first person I met, just as a temperature check, the very first person I met in Puerto Rico when I came off of the airport, I said, "Y mi abrazo," which means, and my hug? Where's my hug, right? She said, "Come on," she told me in Spanish, come and get it. I was like, "No, I was just kidding. She said, no, she didn't let me off the hook. She said, "Come here." She was about, it was like an aunt, that authenticity, that aunt calling me over, giving me a hug, and saying, "Welcome." And I was like, and that was my first experience in the island when I first went. So I was like, wow. So, and then finally a hip hop project. So, I wanted to go make sure I kept the tropical roots, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that hip hop is the seed of which all of these other things come from for me, besides the hip house and things like that. Sure. But we went into the underground level to where what I was doing when I was much younger, recording on tape decks, things of that nature. The Morlock crew.
Yeah, he said tape decks.
Yes, tape decks. Some of my first mixtapes were on a DAT, so an ADAT recorder through a mix board. So the old ways back in the late 80s, early 90s. But with that being said, trying to touch on a project that I was working on ever since I was with, the group that I had in my youth, and that's called the Morlock Crew. That's our most recent album, which I put out probably just a month ago. The Morlock Crew, from the H.G. Wells novel, The Time Machine, the Morlocks are beings that live underground. So we wanted to say, hey, listen, we're here representing for the underground hip-hop movement, and we're still trying to keep that alive and vibrant in that way. So
that's hot, man. Oh man. Well, you got it from us. You got it from my man P.R.Ism. You already know P.Rism is in the building, man. There's so much music that you have came out with, and the first thing I thought about was, because I like Guru, right? Gangsta,
good
right?
choice.
And one of the compilations that they actually had was a 4 CD. What you were saying about the one that you came out in April made me feel like it was that 4 CD track of all of the albums that you came out with, and it was a whole compilation of the best of, right? And I'm like, wow, if you came out with something like that, that brings it back. Not a lot of people are doing that anymore, right? I mean, you don't get the 4 CDs all in one.
Do you put your music on CD, on disc, or albums, or how do you distribute it?
That's actually a very good question as well. Previously, what I would do is I would actually make the CDs and go hand to hand, no different, as we talked about guerrilla marketing, right? So I would get out of these shows routinely, be able to come out, sell CDs either within the crowd, outside of the door, after I made my impression on stage, doing my thing, performing. And oftentimes I would leave with a pocket full of cash. And I was able to, I was sustaining myself on doing shows, performing, hosting, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, CD at the time. Now everything is going to streaming, so we don't incur the hard cost of actually manufacturing. But if I did want to manufacture something at this point, I would love to do vinyl, right? So like an actual record. And just for the milestone. Just for the milestone of having it.
Our kids are into vinyl.
Yeah.
I bought them albums.
That's good.
So I mean, they have record players. We get them. It's being able to hold something,
a physical product,
and look at it and read lyrics and look at who's involved in,
even the cover
just
of the
looking
album
the
too.
pictures,
the cover of the album.
You miss that. Those are the pieces that are missed from streaming.
Totally agree.
That you don't get.
My man,
totally agree.
You're the bomb, bro. You're the bomb.
Man, thank you very much.
So I got, I don't know if you still have yours.
I totally still have mine.
Oh, you do?
I absolutely do.
All right,
so we don't need to give you another one?
Well, no, I still, mine's is crisp. Mine's is crisp. Listen, hold on. Let me hold this up, and I just want to highlight this. This shirt is dope, and it's good quality, right? So it's good quality. When I wore this, I could tell you right now, when I put it on me, this thing is gonna last a long time. So there's no need for me to have a second one. But absolutely, this is a really good quality shirt. Thank you very much for giving me.
I wasn't sure if you had it, but
I have
wanted
it.
to make sure you have one.
I kept it.
You kept it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a memento. It's a memento for me. And that goes back. I'll promise you. Now, I hate to interrupt, but that goes back to what she was saying. Do we create physicals, right?
Yeah.
I wish I was able, and I promise you, I thought to myself, man, it would be so cool if I came in and was able to say, hey, I got something for everybody here, and had physical merchandise.
Yes,
so the fact that you had that physical merchandise, big ups for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. P.Rism, I want to say, man, you are continuously being a gem of Chicago, but also around the world, because our platform is around the world. And the thing about it is that, you know, we're so happy to be able to showcase all of your work in regards to, especially this video, right? We're gonna showcase this video to make sure everybody sees this, right? So just in case if you guys don't know, our show also is going to be on Roku. Also, it's on Amazon as well too. Amazon, I think it's kind of the Amazon Fire Stick and all that stuff. Android, iOS, of course, and big shout out to E360 as far as with distribution. And also big shout out to Beatrice Davis that's actually helping us get our platform everywhere. And if everybody actually are on all of our live streaming, don't forget to comment in the comment section. Let us know as far as what you think. And you know, Primo Cruz says, "Ooh yeah," it's Jodeci. Yeah, and he said,
"You don't know about that."
Yeah, he said this brother has worked in sales or still does, and I'm like, that's what happens when you sell yourself.
He's been in sales for as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
you see him everywhere
the
selling
street
himself.
Team, right?
Yeah.
The street salesman. You know what I mean? But man, thank you so much for being on the show. We're gonna put up your social media, right? Because we got to put up your social media. We only got one. I think it's the linktree shy_lingua. Yes. Mm-hmm. So linktr.ee /shy_LINGUAL lingua. So make sure you guys go there. He has all of his information there, from Instagram to Facebook, and also the website will be coming. They'll be coming down the line to be able to make sure you're able to purchase his information. But make sure you go and support P.Rism, man. This guy has been an icon in Chicago for quite some time.
Absolutely.
And when I say quite some time, it's been a long time, that brother, that you deserve all of the accolades. When we're going red carpet, you coming with us.
Awesome. I know you guys are going places. Like,
yes, sir.
Like she mentioned earlier, channeling your creativity into multiple directions.
Yes.
You got the cooking show, you got the talk show, you guys are doing things.
Thank you.
Best wishes, best luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Put your hands together for P.Rism, everybody. Thank you, Papa. Thank you for being on the show,
Thank you
man.
very much.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. So we're going to get right out of here because I know you guys got to do a lot of stuff today. And, you know, today is our last Saturday. We're going to put the screen directly on me. So I want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of your creativity. Your creativity is such a beautiful thing when it comes to you knowing all of your talents. If you don't know all of your talents, trust me, the pandemic should have showed you something in regards to where your talents and where you may have been lacking in regards to your talents. But you know that P.Rism has actually, if he can do it each month, you can do it as well too. Whatever you study, whatever that you're looking at, whatever you're looking forward to, whatever your process is, just make sure you do it in order. Before we get out of here, everybody, we're going to go over our social media as well, too, because we want you guys to make sure you follow us as well.
Follow us.
Here's our first one. www.riconosuaveshow.com. Yes, new website will be coming up, everybody, so I want you guys to make sure that you please go ahead and follow us there. We do also stream live there, and also you can listen to the radio app there as well. Here's the next one. We got it. Boom. Yes. At Rico No Suave Show. You already know me, gente. That is where you can follow us on our official account.
Instagram.
So make sure you go ahead and follow us there. Yes. Our next one is, Facebook. Rico No Suave Show. Go ahead and like.
Love.
All day, every day. Every time she says that. All right. Here we go. The next one. It is our YouTubers. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, everybody. So make sure you go to our YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we're at, and our archives will be there as well too, so you can always go back and look forward to looking at the video again. Here's the last one. Mixcloud.com YouTube.com/Rico No Suave Show. Yes, it turns into a podcast. So if you're a podcaster, make sure you go ahead and sign up for a free account. It is all free, everybody. Make sure you follow us there on the Rico No Suave Show. And yes. All right, everybody. Until next time, October 5th is our new showtime, everybody. That's a Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's where we're going to actually be. So don't try to tune in on next Saturday because we won't be here. Right?
See you next Wednesday. On that
Wednesday, okay? So everybody have a great day. Have a great week, and we'll see you. Ya tu sabe. Just like that.